The moment I ran into my ex-wife, I was in the client's conference room, nodding and smiling like my life depended on it. She was the client, the project lead, to be exact. I scanned the room, but I didn't see him, the guy bestie who used to insist on sleeping in the middle of our bed. The one who wanted my wedding ring so badly, I figured I might as well throw in the wife for free. After the contract was signed, we all went out for a team dinner. When it was time for icebreakers, the host asked all the single people to stand up so they could rearrange the seating, mixing everyone up. The second I stood, my ex-wife grabbed my arm and pulled me out of the room. "Ethan, I need to talk to you about the shooting schedule." She pinned me against the cold hallway wall, her breath a whisper. "Enjoying the singles mixer? Are any of them as pretty as me?" Khloe's sultry act threw me right back to the days before the divorce. A wave of raw anger surged through me. "It's none of your business. We're divorced." I turned to leave, ignoring her as she called my name. Back in the private dining room, everyone's gaze was tinged with a new kind of pity. Leo, the intern, leaned in close. "Dude, when did you piss off the devil in Prada?" he whispered. I didn't know my ex had earned that nickname. She wasn't exactly Anne Hathaway, but she had that same captivating energy. A bona fide knockout. I grabbed a slice of melon and started eating. I didn't piss her off. It's just work. This only piqued my colleagues' interest. They huddled around me, launching into a full-blown analysis. "Wait, that's not right. She kept looking at you during dinner." "Yeah, and she knew you don't eat celery." "How did she know that?" "You two don't know each other, do you?" I shot up from my chair, faking an excuse. "Stomach's not feeling great. Gotta hit the restroom." As I walked away, I overheard someone say, "Leave him alone, guys. She's probably about to get remarried anyway." That really set them off. "What? That woman was married." "Ethan, that's a serious accusation. You can get sued for slander." I wasn't slandering anyone. I was the sucker who wore the horns and kept his mouth shut. And I'd met her boyfriend. The thought left a bitter taste in my mouth, the sting of betrayal still fresh. I stepped into the alley and lit a cigarette. Through the haze of smoke, my mind drifted back a few years. Khloe and I met in college. We dated for 4 years and got married right after graduation. Everyone said we were the perfect couple, a match made in heaven. I believed it too. I thought that happiness would last forever. Then came the day Instagram updated its stories. Khloe posted a live photo. In the background, a man's voice, thick with intimacy, murmured, "Khloe, have my baby." She deleted it in seconds, but I couldn't unhear it. Using a burner account, I immediately looked up her guy bestie. What I found on his profile made my blood run cold. The business trip Khloe was supposedly on was actually a weekend getaway with Caleb Scott at the New W Hotel. 3 days and 3 nights. They hadn't left the room. I don't remember how I managed to drive to her father's house that day. He had early onset Alzheimer's, and his doctor said he needed regular check-ins. Khloe was gone half the time on business, so it fell to me to make sure her dad was okay. Stopping by to cook him a meal had become my daily routine. I made his favorite stir-fry and a soup, but when I set the plates down, he wouldn't pick up his fork. "Ethan, is something on your mind?" he asked, grabbing my hand and pouring me a glass of bourbon. "I can't, Dad. I drove." He pushed the glass toward me anyway. "Doesn't matter. Get an Uber." The old man was sharp as a tack when he wanted to be. "Did you and Khloe have a fight?" I hadn't wanted to think about it, but the mention of her name made my eyes burn. I shook my head hard, but a tear nearly escaped. I downed the bourbon in one gulp, the burn in my throat forcing the tears back. "It's nothing, Dad. All couples fight." He sighed, slowly raising his glass to clink with mine. "I know my own daughter. I spoiled her rotten. I know you've put up with her selfish streak for a long time." He took a sip and set his glass down. "You're still young. You need to think about yourself. If it's time to leave, then leave. Don't worry. As long as I'm alive, my family will never wrong you." I sucked the tears back and forced a smile. "Don't worry about us, Dad. We're fine." I finished the meal as fast as I could, terrified our problems would affect his health. The second I left, I called Khloe. She hadn't seen her father in ages, and I could tell he missed her. My calls went straight to voicemail. I tried again when I got home. The first few calls were declined, but then she finally picked up. "God, are you always this annoying?" My heart twisted. Annoying. That's what she thought of me. I swallowed my anger and asked in a low voice, "Where are you?" Khloe lowered her voice, too. "On my business trip. Why are you asking so many questions?" Her patience with me was non-existent. My own voice trembled. "Who are you with?" Her voice got even quieter. "I'm by myself." "Ethan, what the hell are you thinking? Are you accusing me of something?" Suddenly, I heard footsteps on the other end of the line. It was the answer to my question. The knot in my stomach finally loosened. My father-in-law's words echoed in my head. "You're still young. You need to think about yourself." I tightened my grip on the phone, the chill in my heart finally breaking free. Let's get a divorce. Come back and sign the papers as soon as you can. Khloe let out a dry, humorless laugh. Fine by me. After she hung up, I started packing. Most of the stuff in this apartment was mine, but there was very little I wanted to take. Khloe's work had her traveling constantly. This place was less a home and more a hotel she occasionally checked into. I filled one suitcase. There were other things I didn't know what to do with, the gifts I'd bought her. Everything from a fancy electric toothbrush to designer handbags, all displayed neatly around the apartment. None of them had ever been used. As I picked up a bottle of expensive perfume I'd chosen for her, I noticed it had expired. If Caleb had given it to her, she would have treasured it, even if it was a cheap knockoff. The thought made me sick. I swept everything into trash bags. Finally, I took one last look at the home that held so many memories. We bought this place together after we got married. I deserved to leave with some dignity. In the end, all I took was that single suitcase. 5 years of my life, and this was all I had to show for it. I drove to my parents' old house. I hadn't been able to set foot in it since they passed away. Now, it was the only roof I had left. That night, I fell asleep on the couch, watching over their framed photos. I woke up the next morning to a missed call from Khloe. When I called back, she answered with pure irritation. I thought you wanted a divorce. Why are you dodging my calls? Where's all that courage you had yesterday? I rubbed my swollen eyes, trying to force myself awake. I overslept. Where are you? The words were out before I could stop them. It was instinct. I regretted it immediately. Where she was didn't matter anymore. If we were getting divorced, I had no right to ask. I cleared my throat. When are you free? We can meet at the courthouse. A man's laugh echoed from her end of the line, laced with contempt. Then Khloe laughed too. How old are you? Still playing these games? Trying to threaten me? Ethan, that's not how you win my heart. You're so childish. She hung up. I stood up, stretching my stiff neck, and sent her a text. 2 o'clock. At the courthouse. Like always, the message went unanswered. A little while later, I saw Caleb's post on Instagram. He must have unblocked me. It was a photo of him and Khloe, captioned with the cheesiest line I'd ever read. At first, all I wanted was your name. Now, I want to spend Christmas with you, New Year's, every holiday that matters. I gave it a like. Immediately, a series of angry voice messages came through from Khloe. Ethan, what is wrong with you? Caleb was just being nostalgic. What's the like supposed to mean? I'm telling you, my conscience is clear. A clear conscience. I'd never seen a cheater with so much conviction. I didn't reply. In the past, she could send a single emoji, and I'd fire back 3 messages asking how she was feeling. Now, I didn't care. Let her guy bestie worry about her. After lunch, I got ready and headed to the courthouse. The weather was beautiful, a warm breeze gently brushing against my face. I waited in the lobby for a long time. The number on my ticket was called and passed. I kept taking new numbers, letting them expire, then taking another. Finally, one of the clerks gave me a strange look. Sir, please don't hold up the line. Are you getting a divorce or not? Of course I was. But Khloe never showed, and she wasn't answering her phone. An hour later, the clerk couldn't take it anymore. If she's not cooperating, you should just go home. Get a lawyer. You can sue for divorce, you know. It was like a switch flipped in my head. That's right. Why was I waiting for her to cooperate? I could sue. Knowing Khloe, unless she was the one who wanted out, she'd have a million excuses not to show up. It was pointless for me to sit around waiting. So I went straight to a law firm. After hiring a lawyer, I was driving home when Khloe called. I'm hungry, Ethan. I want you to make your bolognese. Her voice was soft. When will you be home? For a second, I was disoriented, thrown back to the first year of our marriage when I'd rush home from work every day to cook for her, and we'd go for a walk after dinner. Those days were long gone. I'm not coming home. That's not my home anymore. Khloe's temper flared instantly. What's that supposed to mean, Ethan? What's with the attitude? I pulled over to the curb. I cleared my throat. Khloe, I wasn't kidding about the divorce. I've already filed. If you're not going to cooperate, you should get a lawyer. I hung up before she could respond. She called back once. I didn't answer. She didn't try again. 30 minutes later, Caleb's Instagram updated. A picture of the two of them on a hotel rooftop, looking romantic. Caleb was pointing at the Big Dipper, claiming it was Centaurus. It was so stupid I almost laughed. Hours passed. I guess Khloe finally went home. She called me, her voice thick and slurring with alcohol. Ethan, help me take off my makeup. I hung up. It seemed she still hadn't realized I'd moved out of that apartment. No, her apartment. The lawsuit was in motion. The next day, after work, I had just gotten into my car when Khloe called again. Where the hell are you? Think you're hot stuff now that you don't come home anymore. I could tell she was in a bad mood, but that wasn't my problem. I'd had a long day myself and was feeling irritable. Khloe, where I go is none of your business. Worry about yourself. I'd never spoken to her like that before. There was a stunned silence on the other end. After a few seconds, she finally spoke. I don't care. I want to eat your food. I'm sick of takeout. My stomach hurts. Her guy bestie couldn't cook. She used to tell me I'd spoiled her, that she couldn't stand restaurant food anymore. She'd praise me with one breath and wipe her mouth clean with the other. Khloe was a natural-born cheater. If your stomach hurts, see a doctor. If you're hungry, order food. I have no obligation to serve you. As soon as I said it, I hung up. A wave of relief washed over me. After 5 years of marriage, I'd finally spoken my mind. In the past, if I complained even slightly, Khloe would punish me with her version of house rules. Minor infractions earned me the silent treatment. Major ones meant she'd leave for days. When I'd ask where she went, she'd just say she was staying at a friend's place. Looking back, I'm pretty sure all those friends were men. She was dangerously confident in her own charm. She used to send me screenshots of messages from guys hitting on her, telling me I was lucky she married me. All I wanted was for fate to take back the favor. After dinner, my lawyer called. He told me the fastest way to get this done was still to have Khloe sign the papers. The city's divorce courts were backed up, and getting a hearing would take time. I called Khloe. This time, she picked up on the first ring. What? I'm busy. Her breathing was uneven, like she was in the middle of some strenuous activity. Just as I was about to speak, I heard Caleb's sharp intake of breath in the background. In an instant, I knew what they were doing. I slammed the phone down, my heart pounding so hard it felt like it would burst from my chest. The suffocating feeling of betrayal was like drowning. I couldn't escape it. I sat on the couch in silence for an hour. Then I called my lawyer. Will submitting evidence of her affair speed up the proceedings? After getting my answer, I placed a USB drive into a manila envelope. Khloe, I thought this divorce is happening. The next morning, before I could even leave for work, a breakfast delivery arrived. I figured it was one of Khloe's little stunts, so I didn't answer the door. The delivery guy called, then left it on the doorstep. I thought that would be the end of it, but she cornered me on my way home from work. I was carrying groceries, about to swipe my key fob, when she threw her arms around me from behind. The familiar scent of her perfume, mixed with her body heat, was suffocating. I shoved her away. Khloe lost her balance and stumbled to the ground. Ever since I'd heard her with Caleb on the phone, I felt a deep-seated revulsion toward her. Her touch made me want to be sick. Khloe sat on the ground, looking up at me pathetically, holding out a hand. Ethan, it's me. God, you're strong. Help me up. I shifted the grocery bags in my hands. Sorry, my hands are full. If you're not hurt, you can rest here for a bit. I turned to go inside. Just as the lobby door was closing, Khloe slipped through the gap. You won't answer your phone? You won't reply to my texts. I was so worried about you, she said, jogging to catch up and linking her arm through mine. I knew I'd find you here. Don't deny it. You missed me, didn't you? You bought all these vegetables. You're so good to me. That nauseating feeling returned. I pulled my arm away. I held up the bag in my left hand. Look closer. These are bell peppers, which you hate. And this is pork, which you say stinks. I then held up the bag in my right hand. And this is durian, your least favorite fruit in the world. Khloe, these are my favorites. I wasn't waiting for you. It seems she finally registered my mood. Her expression hardened. Are you still angry? I told you it was nothing. Why won't you believe me? No sane person would be okay with this. With that thought, I walked faster, reaching my apartment door in seconds. Khloe stuck to me like glue. As I tried to close the door, she shoved her hand in the way. Wait, this is your birthday present. Let me come in and talk. I live on the first floor. A few neighbors walking by were staring at Khloe. She was beautiful, dressed to kill, and it was getting dark. Leaving her outside felt wrong. I stepped aside and she darted in. Ethan, I spent a long time picking this out. I know you'll love it. She eagerly held a gift-wrapped box in front of me. So, she remembered my birthday was yesterday. She knew everything. She just couldn't be bothered to care. This was the first birthday gift Khloe had ever given me. The things I'd received before were probably someone else's cast-offs, tossed to me without a thought. A worn blazer with a condom still in the pocket. A water-damaged watch with someone else's initials engraved on the back. The worst was a box of custom-made underwear with her name printed on them. Thinking about it now, they were all just trash discarded by her boy toys. But Khloe had already given me the best gift of all, the clarity that comes from being betrayed. I pushed the box back into her handbag without even looking at it. Khloe panicked. You don't like it? But you haven't even seen it. I pushed her toward the door. Don't bother. There was no love between us then, and there's no need to act now. This whole performance wasn't about winning me back. It was because I was the one who initiated the divorce, and that bruised her ego. That was Khloe's personality. She could reject anyone, but no one could ever reject her. Especially not a man. Ethan, just listen to me. I have so much I want to tell you. Slam. The heavy door cut off her voice. I stood in my apartment, the lingering scent of her perfume making my stomach churn. I was so close to being done with her. For the next few days, I ignored Khloe completely. She must have received the court summons, because she started sending me abusive texts. "You're a heartless bastard, Ethan. A backstabbing dog. Do you have any idea how many guys are after me? You'll regret losing me. Don't come crying back to me. I'm telling you, my heart is made of stone." I ignored them all. Then I got a message from Caleb. It was short and to the point. "Ethan, we need to meet. There are some things we should clear up in person." My first instinct was to ignore him. But then I thought the divorce is already happening. What am I afraid of? Not going would just make me look weak. I agreed. Caleb set the meeting for that evening at a family-style restaurant on the waterfront. When I walked in, a waiter immediately led me toward the outdoor terrace. I froze when I got there. Caleb had set me up. This wasn't the quiet place for a one-on-one conversation I had imagined. Khloe was there, along with her best friend and her best friend's best friend. I knew them all, but we were hardly close. Well, look what the cat dragged in. The husband. "Caleb, you should probably move," Khloe's friend Megan said, looking me up and down. "Ethan, this is a private party. Couldn't you have dressed a little better? Are things that bad at home?" Khloe looked uncomfortable and actually tried to defend me. "He's always been casual. Everyone, please sit down." I wanted nothing to do with Megan, so I deliberately sat far away from her. But she was relentless. The first dish arrived, and she started gushing. "Oh my God, this is Caleb's favorite. Khloe, you're so thoughtful. You treat him so well." Everyone else just smirked, their eyes darting toward me. I finally understood why Caleb had invited me. He wanted to see me humiliated. I picked up my chopsticks and took the first bite. Then, I fired back without missing a beat. "She's good to everyone. She's always feeding the stray cats and dogs in the neighborhood." I took another bite. Of course, she gets bored easily. One day, she loves this one. The next day, she's on to another. "You guys should be careful." Someone at the table snorted with laughter. The atmosphere turned instantly awkward. Caleb's chopsticks hovered over the dish, unable to land. Under the table, Khloe was rubbing her foot against his leg, and his expression finally softened a little. Megan shot me a death glare. When the second dish came out, she found her opening. "Oh, move the fish away from Khloe. The smell of rich food has been making her nauseous lately. I wonder if she's pregnant." "Congratulations, Ethan." The last part was dripping with sarcasm. A few people giggled. Even Caleb couldn't hide a slight smirk. I put my chopsticks down. "Then you should be congratulating Caleb. Khloe and I haven't slept in the same bed for 2 years. How could the kid be mine?" Caleb, on the other hand. I picked up my glass of water. "Thanks for taking care of my wife's needs for so long. If there's a baby, you should definitely keep it. I won't stand in your way." The looks on their faces were priceless. Caleb and Khloe's faces were so dark you could have squeezed ink from them. Someone had to tear down the facade, and it was going to be me. This was the perfect time and place. Everyone put down their utensils. Khloe was the first to speak. "I'm not pregnant." I picked my chopsticks back up and continued eating as if nothing had happened. "That's a shame," I said between bites. "Better get on that, then." Caleb grabbed his water glass and hurled it onto the empty patio space behind me. "Is this fun for you? You won't sign the divorce papers, and it's making things hard for me and Khloe." My silence was deafening. I wouldn't sign? That was the joke of the century. Caleb was completely worked up now. He ignored Khloe, trying to pull him back, and stormed over to me. "Khloe told me a long time ago that she loves me." I nodded enthusiastically. "Yep, you're not the first, and you won't be the last." Megan chimed in, pointing her chopsticks at me. "Ethan, we're all civilized people here. You need to respect Khloe's feelings." I sighed and put my chopsticks down. Civilized people aren't usually this shameless. You respect the connection between two human beings, not the primal urges of animals and heat. Khloe's face turned from red to white and back again. Caleb wasn't backing down. "Whatever. Khloe and I have done everything. You can deal with it." This sparked my interest. I pulled my wallet out of my pocket and took out a wad of cash. "Tough work. I'm not sure what the going rate is these days." I shoved the bills into his hand. "If it's not enough, just let me know. Consider it a down payment." Caleb exploded. The cash went flying out over the water, a spectacular, pathetic sight. Khloe started to sob quietly. Everyone rushed to comfort her, completely ignoring the fact that I was telling the truth. I'd gathered enough evidence. I saved the audio recording on my phone. Megan, however, still wasn't done. When your father was sick, it was Khloe's family who paid the bills. How can you humiliate her like this? Do you have any shame? She wasn't wrong. When my dad was in the ICU, the bills were nearly $20,000 a day. The expensive imported medicine wiped out my savings. I was about to sell my apartment when Khloe stepped in. She borrowed a few $100,000 from her parents for me. I was eternally grateful to them and treated them like my own parents. But I paid back every cent from the money I made doing freelance video editing and photography in college. I pulled out my phone and showed them the bank transfer record. Look closely. Every single penny was returned to her family. Don't use that against me. Then, I threw a prepaid card onto the table. It was for her father's physical therapy. You haven't been home in a long time. Your dad misses you. I paid for 3 years on this card. Just take him once a week. It's good for his back and his knees. Khloe stared at me, her eyes filled with tears. Once we're divorced, you really need to visit him more. His condition is unpredictable. It can be dangerous. Kayla grabbed my arm, incredulous. You're willing to get a divorce? Why wouldn't I be? I tossed a copy of the divorce papers onto the table. The summons was already mailed to your house. Whether you sign or not just affects the timeline. I don't care. Khloe broke down completely, sobbing hysterically. As her friends gathered around her, I walked away without a backward glance. Khloe, I thought, we're finally even. The next few days were peaceful. Khloe stopped harassing me completely. Caleb, however, started acting strange. His social media was a stream of emo song lyrics like Still Think of You and Trapped in Memories, or angsty captions like this messy ending doesn't deserve our beautiful beginning. He was posting so much I just deleted him. The day the judge's ruling came down, I felt like I had been reborn. I was finally free from that soulless apartment, free from the woman who was eating away at my soul. I was finally free to live for myself. I took a week off and flew to the Caribbean. Even after splitting our assets, I had more than enough money to live comfortably. The Caribbean sun warmed my heart. I spent my days lounging on the beach, going out with local fishermen, or hiking into the jungle to find coconut crabs as big as my head. Everything was perfect. My spirits soared. I fell asleep happy every night and didn't have a single dream. The day I flew back, I saw a familiar figure at the arrival's gate. Khloe was wearing massive sunglasses, like she was afraid of being recognized. I almost forgot. She was a moderately successful model now, with a few ad campaigns for big brands under her belt. I ducked my head, tried to avoid her, but she spotted me. Ethan, over here. I quickened my pace, pretending I hadn't heard, but she ran over and grabbed my arm. Ethan, it's me. I came to pick you up. I saw your Instagram posts and checked the flight schedules. I came to meet you. She looked exhausted. I've been waiting since this morning. I finally caught you. I looked at her pale lips, free of makeup, and I believed her. Khloe was slightly anemic. If she skipped a meal, her lips would lose their color. But none of it mattered to me anymore. Do you need something? I asked, politely stepping away from her. Khloe froze. I just wanted to see you. I was afraid if I called, I'd ruin your vacation. So she had been watching my posts. I guess I should thank her for not disturbing my peace while I was in the happiest place on earth. Khloe, we're divorced. Do you have amnesia? You got the court papers, right? 2 streams of tears instantly rolled down her cheeks. I know I was wrong, Ethan. I'll stop going out. I'll stay home with you. Please, don't leave me. Without you, I can't handle. My dad. My entire body went rigid. What happened to your dad? Is he okay? The tears flowed freely now. A few days ago, my dad went out by himself and got lost. He fell and was lying outside all night. He just woke up yesterday. Thank God. At least it wasn't freezing, or he could have died out there. My anger flared. I told you to take care of him, to visit more. Why didn't you listen? She started sobbing, her shoulders shaking, drawing stares from people passing by. Where is he now? Khloe looked up. He's at Mercy General. The doctor said. I bolted out of the airport. My parents taught me one thing. You never forget someone who saved your life. I truly thought of Khloe's father as my own. Seeing him in the hospital bed, a bandage wrapped around his head and one leg in a cast, I was filled with guilt. Dad, you. I stopped, realizing the word was wrong. It was awkward. Are you okay, sir? Where does it hurt? Khloe's father opened his swollen eyes. I'm fine. Just call me Mr. Vance, it's okay. I was all for you too, getting divorced. Khloe stomped her foot. Dad, a nurse shushed us. Please keep your voices down. If you need to argue, take it outside. Khloe blushed, grabbed a water pitcher, and left to fill it up, phone in hand. For a split second, I saw Caleb's profile picture pop up in a new message notification. Mr. Vance grabbed my hand. Now that you're divorced, my heart is at ease. Khloe said you were on vacation. Did you have a good time? I took out my phone and showed him pictures from my trip, from the mint green water to a giant boa constrictor in the rainforest. A rare smile spread across his face. Good, that's so good. The world is an amazing place. It's a shame I'm too old to see it for myself. I squeezed his hand. When you're better, I'll take you. My treat. All you have to do is come with me. His tired, yellowed eyes turned red. He waved his hand dismissively. Too old. Can't go. I'm going to get some sleep. I checked the time. Half an hour had passed, and Khloe wasn't back. Worried something had happened. I went to look for her. I found her just outside the door, deep in a phone call. Please, that idiot can't resist this act. The second I start crying, he melts. He's in there chatting with my dad right now. Don't be jealous. We agreed on this. He's better than 2 nannies, and he's free. Do you know how expensive nannies are? Why wouldn't I use something that's free? We have to get back together, but my heart belongs to you, babe. Don't you ever doubt that. Caleb, I love you. Everything clicked into place. Caleb's dramatic Instagram posts, the reunion at the airport. It was all orchestrated by Khloe. She needed me. She needed me to take care of her aging father, so she would have more time and energy to screw around with other men. Khloe Vance was heartless. Whatever guilt I felt vanished. I left the hospital without disturbing Mr. Vance and blocked Khloe on everything. When Khloe walked into the client's conference room, my heart sank. A friend had set me up with this gig, a year-long contract to handle a brand's new campaign. My job was to shoot a series of custom portraits and lifestyle ads. I just never imagined a model I'd be following around would be Khloe. In the past few months, her career had taken off. She'd moved from print ads to video commercials, her face plastered on the giant LED screens in Times Square. That night, after dinner with my colleagues, I went home early and fell asleep. The next morning, I opened my door to find Khloe, still in last night's clothes and heavy makeup, crouched on my doorstep. She looked up at me, her face a mask of practiced vulnerability. Ethan, are you really done with me? I slammed the door in her face. Just pretend I saw a ghost. Khloe started pounding on the door, the noise echoing through the hall. Ethan, I'm your client now. You have to do what I say. I'm hungry. I need food. Her shouting was attracting attention from my neighbors. I had no choice but to open the door again. What is wrong with you? She threw herself into my arms. I knew you couldn't stay mad at me. I instantly pushed her away and handed her a carton of milk from my fridge. Her eyes immediately welled up. You know I'm lactose intolerant. Of course I knew. I opened the carton and drank it myself. I'm not, but I was becoming seriously intolerant of her. Every time she touched me, a wave of nausea washed over me. Every cell in my body rejected her. Khloe tried to move closer again, but I held up a hand to stop her. Ms. Vance, we have a professional relationship. If you continue like this, I will file a harassment complaint. My tone was dead serious, and it startled her. Her hand froze in midair. Ethan, it's only been a few months. You're like a different person. I let out a cold laugh and pushed her out the door again. Then pretend you don't know me. The old Ethan is dead. I didn't go to the studio that day. I had another photographer friend cover for me. I gave him the 6-figure contract, no strings attached. He told me I was a hell of a guy. Khloe was furious. On the first day of the shoot, she threw a tantrum, screaming that the photographer was unprofessional and made her look hideous. After the entire project team reviewed the photos, they all agreed that Khloe was the one with the problem. When she had her 10th meltdown, the entire crew walked off the set. The next day, I heard the news. Khloe had been replaced. She had single-handedly destroyed the biggest opportunity of her career. I bought a new condo and moved. I never ran into Khloe again. Several months later, I got a text message. It was from a former neighbor of Khloe's dad. We'd gone to the same college and had stayed in touch. I'd occasionally asked him to keep an eye on Mr. Vance for me. His message was only a few words. Mr. Vance passed away. My heart hammered against my ribs. A loud ringing filled my ears, and my limbs went numb. It felt like my feet were encased in concrete. I don't know how long I stood there before I realized my phone had fallen to the floor, its screen shattered. I called him back and learned the truth. After Mr. Vance was discharged from the hospital, Khloe hadn't learned her lesson. Instead of spending more time with him, she resorted to cheap, invasive tech. She put a GPS tracker on him, making him feel like a prisoner under constant surveillance. She installed cameras all over his house, robbing him of any privacy. After setting all that up, Khloe never went back. She went on with her life, working, drinking, and clubbing, chasing happiness in a world of men and money. Mr. Vance withered away in the digital cage she had built for him. Then one day, Khloe noticed his location hadn't changed in a while. She couldn't remember how many days it had been. The alcohol had clouded her memory. For the first time in ages, she went home. The moment she opened the door, she saw her father hanging from the ceiling fan and fainted. The coroner determined he had been dead for at least a week. An analysis of his recent behavior suggested he had developed severe depression. Lacking care and companionship, he had chosen to end his own life. I went to the funeral. I placed a bouquet of white lilies, a final farewell, in front of his casket. I didn't scream at Khloe. I didn't ask her why she hadn't taken care of him, why she hadn't listened to me. I knew it was too late for any of that. The dead were gone, and the living had to go on living. And Khloe's pain would be no less than mine. She was thinner than I'd ever seen her, like a rootless weed that could be blown over by the slightest breeze. She didn't cry, but I knew that in the immediate aftermath of a death, the grief doesn't always hit. The real pain comes in the small moments that follow. When you open the fridge and see a half-empty bottle of milk, or notice the carefully tended plants on the windowsill. When you see the crisp, folded corners of the blanket on the bed. That's when you understand that the loss of a loved one is a wound that never truly heals. And that was Khloe's punishment. Every now and then, I visit Mr. Vance's grave. I sit and tell him about the countries I've traveled to. Today, I brought a flask and 2 glasses, and we had a couple of drinks together. The light drizzle that had been falling all morning suddenly stopped, and the sun broke through the clouds. The path was still muddy. I wiped the dust from his headstone and finished the last of the bourbon. As for Khloe, she might as well have been dead.